Hey everyone, so this is going to be another video observation note. I decided to observe classrooms both at UCSD, lecture hall style, discussion style, and also I work at an elementary school, or several elementary schools actually, and one of them I decided to observe during my time working while the kids were at recess. So seeing how different kinds of classroom setups facilitate different kinds of learning. I first went to the elementary school and I observed the classroom there, and here's some footage from that.
So currently on my way to work, I'm going to capture some footage about how the classrooms are structured in an elementary school setting compared to in college and what kind of learning that facilitates. So let's get started.
And as you can see, the desks are situated in a way where there's a lot of room, and then there's two desks, or there's two people per desk, so there's some room for collaboration and cooperation, which is not so as popular as in lecture hall styles where everything is pretty separate and individualized. And then so now here's some footage of me going to observe some classrooms on a late Friday afternoon, which is not the best idea, as you can probably tell later on in this video clip.
Alright, so now I'm on campus and I'm going to be observing classrooms, if I can find one that's even going on at 6 p.m. on Friday, which I really doubt, but whatever.
And as you can see, it was pretty empty, and I still filmed just because I thought it'd be good to just like show how an empty classroom looks like. I did decide also to go take a peek into a discussion classroom, that smaller one, and that one was a lot more similar to the ones at my elementary school that I also work at. Again, it makes sense because discussion-based classes are smaller, they're meant to be smaller and facilitate more talking and discussion, obviously. So it makes sense why the desks are situated in the way that they are. When designing a student-centered classroom, we need to be attentive to what kind of class it is, what is the main goal of the classroom, and what kind of learning is best suited for that kind of classroom. More so an issue of not necessarily the structure of how to redesign it, but just making sure we allocate the right classes to the right classrooms so that they're most effective. So I decided once again on Monday to go into classrooms and hopefully see some form of life or intelligence during the day. Here is some footage of my travels on a Monday afternoon, hoping that there would be some kind of classroom going on after, you know, a nice refreshing weekend and everyone's all geared up to go to school again. And it proved fruitful, as you can see in this footage.
I'm gonna head to campus now and just like walk in on a classroom as unobtrusively as I can and see where that gets me or what information that can get me. So.
As I said earlier, is that you need to get used to.
Alright, that was incredibly awkward, but hopefully no one thought I was too weird by taking videos in their classroom in the back of the room. So yeah.
So I ended up walking into a random CSE class. I believe it was lower division, but I can't remember. I went to that class. The board was pretty much gibberish to me. A lot of code, a lot of letters, a lot of numbers. Actually, I don't think that meant that many numbers. But regardless, I went into the classroom like I do any other classroom. I sit down, I put my bag down in front of me, or like beside me kind of, and sometimes on my lap, sometimes on the desk next to me if there's space, and I situate my laptop on top of the desk, and if it's perfectly fine, there's still some margin around the perimeter. It's not too bad because I only usually bring my laptop to class. I don't find myself like spilling out of the seat or anything. There's room the side of me, and overall it's okay. It's Pepper Canyon is one of the more comfortable lecture halls, and so that wasn't too big of a deal. However, I noticed that this is not necessarily the case for everybody. I did notice, as you can see in some of these clips inserted later on this video, that some people had their belongings like spilling out from their desk. They had sometimes big folders, big binders, laptops that kind of like kept over the edge of the desk because they had other stuff on their desk as well. So having space for everybody and everybody's belongings was not necessarily possible, or it maybe was possible, but the space was not optimized to be as optimized as it could be. some people did end up having their bags or their backpacks in the aisles, leaving more space in front of them for their feet, which is totally understandable. Other people had their bags next to them. If there was an empty seat next to them, they just put it there, because some people don't want to put it on their floor, which is totally understandable as well. Other times people had so many belongings that they decided to just use their actual lap as like a second desk while still having stuff on their main desk, or just moving things entirely to the lap and not using the desk at all, which kind of defeats the purpose of a desk if you don't use the desk and you use your lap as a desk. Again, this all depends on the person and the kind of belongings they decide to carry to lecture and decide to have out during lecture. Another thing I noticed was just the overall notion of comfort. Now, I can't go into people's minds and assess how comfortable they are from their perspective, but just looking at them and secretly video recording them and whatnot, I noticed that's one person in particular, and then a couple people later on followed suit. The person would put their leg outside of the desk area well into the aisle and then start shaking it, probably out of boredom or something, or just like as a natural kind of habit. In my opinion, I feel like that's indicative of not having enough actual leg room to spread out your legs and be comfortable in a seated position that you know, helps with learning, or just is comfortable, you know, just as comfortable to the person. So again, even in the nicer lecture halls, the show space comes up, and the issue of, you know, how are people going to put their belongings where they want them to be, and whatnot becomes relevant. So again, these are important considerations to take when redesigning the UCSD classroom, for what purposes, for what specific audience, and for what kind of classes there is. That's about it for today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.